the Milliken Board of Trustees, September 27th, 2017 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the town clerk please call for the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Trustee Smith?
Here.
Trustee Burak?
Here.
Mayor Whitcutt?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Easner?
Here.
Trustee Lee Ron Ehrlich?
Here.
Trustee Austin?
Here.
Trustee Nick Ehrlich, absent.
Does anyone have any additions or deletions to add to the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Citizens comment. Any citizens comment? Cool. I'm not reading all that. Next. Minutes of the previous meetings.
Make a motion, approve as printed.
Second.
God. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, acknowledgement of paid bills, paid list of bills. Do I have any discussion?
Got nothing. Swear to
I'm looking at her, see if she's actually gonna try tricking us.
Got nothing.
Anything for you guys down there? Any questions on it?
The 450,000 lot holdings, was that?
That's kind of 46.
That's how much it cost?
Mhm.
How many miles?
Actually, it costs a little bit more than that.
1 mile.
Yeah, cost more.
That's the final payment.
Well, that was the only payment we
That was
made.
a discount.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought we put it down payment.
That's the only thing they paid. They paid for the curb and gutter to go on the road too, out of their own pocket.
Really? Because I thought it was gonna be 550. Okay, that was nice. Okay, who did that?
Bravo, lot holding. So. All right.
It's the only one I had.
I ain't gotta approve that, so. We don't have to vote on that, right? We don't have to vote on the acknowledgement, do we? No? Moving on. Town administrator's report.
Yes, Mayor, I was going to report tonight that the parking lot was finished. But, I guess I'll have to save that for 2 weeks. The weather has set it back a little bit, but hopefully the parking lot will get paved here as soon as the sun shines. CDOT is almost done with the Highway 60 improvements through town. So they have a few of the intersections where they have to pave and catch out to the state highway. And other than that, it's looking a little different. We'll have some major landscaping that we have to do next spring, but going to try to get a lot of the hard work done this fall yet.
They've already got, well, they fixed the main line out there, our guys did, for non-pot. They got that tied back in, I believe. They ran all the electric, ran new propane for it already. We ended up moving 3 lines that were way too high. I mean, they were only 10 inches below grade. And that was, one was TDS, one was CenturyLink, and then one was our non-pot line, so we ended up dropping those down.
They can't hear you out there.
Up there?
No.
No, I will say though, that public works wise, on that parking lot, just the comment on what the town administrator said. They've been busting their butts off out there. I mean, they've worked a couple Saturdays trying to get the irrigation fixed down through town. I know one night they were out there till 8:30 at night, trying to get our non-pot line fixed and moved around, so this way the other company that's doing the curb and gutter could come in there and get the curb and gutter done. So, I mean, if you do see Public Works guys, kinda give them kudos for working their butts off, cause they've been slaving.
And to that extent, you know, they need to realize that you as the mayor was out there with them till 8:30 at night, and on those Saturdays also doing a big part of it, so, not many mayors would do that.
I wasn't out there. But, alright, that all you got?
Yes.
Alright, moving on. Action agenda. Well, I guess it's 6:36 and town board's gonna convene as the liquor licensing authority for the next two agenda items. Item number 1, consideration and approval of hotel and restaurant liquor license renewal for the Burnout Grill.
Any issues, chief?
There was only one issue that came up, and I think that was added to the report. There was a report from the state of Colorado, or the state liquor license,
The liquor enforcement.
liquor enforcement. So that report, I think, was added by certain underage,
One time, I think it was it. I'm sure the state slapped him on the hand for it pretty hard.
Yeah, they're usually given the option of, having to shut down for a certain length of time, or imposed a pretty heavy fine. But it becomes part of their,
Permanent record.
record in my, file on the Burnout Grill.
What did it, you have the date on that later on?
January 24th, 2017.
So it was a while ago, beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Any more discussion? Any other questions? No? You guys have any questions? On your side? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the liquor license renewal for the Burnout Grill.
Second.
Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Yes, Mayor. Trustee Austin?
Yes.
Mayor Woodcock?
Yes.
Trustee Leron Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Burak?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item number 2, consideration and approval of 3.2% beer off-premises liquor license renewal for JD2 Investments, Inc. and 7-Eleven, Inc.
No issues at this place. According to this report.
According to the report.
Got any discussion on it? No? Take a motion.
Your Honor, I move to approve the renewal of the 3.2% beer retail license off premises for 7-Eleven store number 39078 Baker, located at 1100 Broad Street, Milliken, Colorado, for the period of November 1st, 2017 until November 1st, 2018.
Second.
Town clerk, please call for a vote.
Yes, sir.
I can't get it out.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Burak?
Yes.
Trustee Austin?
Yes.
Trustee Leron Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mueller?
Yes.
Mayor Woodcock?
Yes.
Motion passed.
6:40, the liquor licensing authority adjourns. reconvenes as the town board. There's nothing on the discussion agenda, but for the informational agenda, I've got two young men over there who would like to talk to us.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council. I do want to state, first of all, Ron Bateman, Fire Chief, Front Range Fire Rescue Authority, 101 South Irene, Milliken, Colorado. Commissioner Kozad is up the street and asked me to let you know that she is coming by with some detectors. I know Trustee Elizabeth Austin, you stopped by earlier. So they're supposed to be there till 7. So maybe we can talk till 7 o'clock and she can come and give you your detectors.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to speak tonight. Here is one of my 10 bosses, Milliken President, Front Range Fire Rescue Authority, Co-President Blair Howe. I want to thank Mayor Woodcock for coming to our meeting on 9/13, visiting with President Howe and I, and extending the invite to come speak briefly. I would speak in a 3-minute pedal to the floor kind of capacity, but you gave us this opportunity to speak here at the end, so I can pause and breathe a little bit more. I just want to give you a snapshot of where we are and how we found ourselves where we are. The Johnstown and Milliken Fire Protection Districts have a long history in their respective communities. Both formerly became Title 32 special districts in the middle part of the 1900s, served proudly and almost exclusively by volunteer community members until the early 2000s. In late 2002, Milliken hired its first full-time operational staff. Johnstown did the same 6 years later in June of 2008. Staggering increases in call volume, an obvious correlative to the rapidly growing communities, was a key driver in the decision to hire staff. For example, the call volume in 2009, the year that I came here as the fire chief, was just a touch under 1,100 calls. In 2016, the call volume was over 2,000, a whopping 83% increase in an 8-year period. In 2011, we began sharing my services, that of a fire chief. It was an innovative and collaborative venture that has become a key thread in our organizational fabric. In May 2013, the two districts, along with Windsor Severance Fire Rescue, partnered with UC Health to staff ambulances in Johnstown and Milliken, greatly reducing the overall response times for ALS transport. Year-to-date data that I looked up earlier today, through the end of August this year, within the authority shows that an ambulance responding emergent is on scene within 11 minutes and 59 seconds, 96.8% of the time. That wasn't the reality before May of 2013. 2014 began with the sharing of additional human resources to include an operations chief and a training captain. That year culminated with the formation of the Front Range Fire Rescue Authority. The intergovernmental agreement that created the authority was intentionally crafted as transformational and not transactional. And what I mean by that is there isn't a revenue allocation formula like the one with Loveland Fire that says that the town is to pay 82% and the rural fire district over there pays 18%. In a July 14th editorial, the Greeley Tribune applauded our, quote, excellent idea that it offered a smart answer to the question of how best to deal with the increasing need for services as Weld County's population continues to grow. A 2016 survey that we conducted at the Pancake Breakfast here and in Johnstown of nearly 200 authority residents confirmed exactly what we already suspected, that 82.6% agreed that they, quote, expect the same level of service from their combination fire department that they might receive from a larger fire department, end quote. Working together has allowed us to meet this charge. Early this year, the authority board considered the different options for bringing the two organizations together as one, ultimately selecting a dissolution and inclusion process primarily because of its transparency in the community. On February 8th of this year, the Johnstown Fire Board of Directors, by resolution, decided to legally change its name to the Front Range Fire Rescue Protection District. On June 1st, We went to district court in the matter of the dissolution process and with no present opposition. The judge ordered the question to be included on the November 7th, 2017 ballot, where the voters of the Milliken Fire Protection District will vote to dissolve the district and include into the Front Range Fire Rescue Protection District. We are proud of the fire department that we've become. In a world too often hamstrung by our differences, we have focused on those things that bring us together, and it has resulted in lives being changed and lives being saved. So, I would have written more if I knew that I had a longer time to speak, but I thank you for that opportunity to speak to you, Mayor and Council.
I have a question for you, Ron.
Yeah.
What happens if the vote fails?
We go on doing business as we are doing business, as the authority.
Nothing will change. Service,
No. So,
what is the benefits if it does pass?
it's a strategic vulnerability. So the document that created the authority, which was signed in November of 2014, spoke to this as the eventual desire. So I apologized to my board last November and said I should have brought this to you sooner because the document spoke to that. But it is a strategic vulnerability. We manage operational vulnerabilities every day. It's a red flag day, 9% humidity and 25-mile-an-hour winds. We bring somebody else in to manage those operational vulnerabilities. This authority could be dissolved by a majority plus one vote of a single board. So a 4-to-1 vote. That's a strategic vulnerability. And the divorce would be messy. That's the fact. So the reality is the assessed values for us as a district or as an authority look good next year. We got a $200,000 grant for an additional position. We're hiring additional folks. The future's bright. It is a strategic vulnerability that we would like to manage. It's a hanging chad. That's what I put in my board report. Does that answer the question, kind of? I saw the mayor's hand, but I also saw yours. So whomever wants to go first.
Real quick, when I talked with you guys the other night, you pointed out something to me that was kind of crazy when I thought about it, because Front Range right now does manage, they cover Johnstown and Milliken. It's not just that they're Johnstown, it's not that they're just Milliken, they're covering both sides and working to do it, you know what I mean? But when you think about it in the chief's aspect, he's got 2 budgets he has to do every year. 3?
Yeah, a Johnstown one, a Milliken one, and
a
then the
Front
authority
Range.
one.
Oh, so I mean, that's 3 in 1 year he's trying to figure out to keep his fire department going. And that's a lot to balance when you think about it. You know, I mean, trying to figure out how do I spend the money here, and then on top of that, I bet you there's, you know, like us spending money in streets and stuff like that. Now he's got to figure out, am I spending the money here in Milliken, or am I spending it here, or, you know, there's a lot more to it than what I originally thought. I can tell you that after having a good long conversation with these guys. It's not just a, hey, we're going to dissolve Milliken and move on. I mean, yes, that's going to be more money in the end, a little bit of an tax increase, but community-wise, and we all know I hate taxes. I'm opposed to taxes. But for a first responder aspect, I think it's our best choice.
I don't want, I know there wasn't a question in there, Mayor, but I do want to reinforce exactly what I told you that night. And that is, I'm not here to tell you to vote for that.
Right.
I don't do that
Well,
with this
that's-
uniform on.
I'm talking-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm here to tell you exactly as I told Trustee Ehrlich, that we are a rock star fire department, and I am proud of who we are. And ironically, and this is where I can get conversational, is we had someone take a fall on the west side of town, and our admin coordinator's husband is a captain on Drake at Station 4 in Fort Collins. And the ambulance went out with the engine, and they got there in like 4 or 5 minutes. And I said to her, I said, they don't get there that fast to my house in South Fort Collins. And she said, yeah, they do. And I said, no, they don't, and not with the ambulance. And so I'm proud of this, and there's no fear here, and I'm not here to pitch this, because we are gonna deal with things as they come to us, absolutely. And I'm just here to tell you who we are as your fire department, and that is a really good fire department. And some of these things, I think, indicate that with the ambulance response times and so forth. So I didn't mean to step on your toes there. There wasn't a question necessarily.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that I'm not here pitching.
No, I know.
Mhm. I wouldn't do that on video recording for sure. Yeah. I didn't want to make sure I answered Linda's question too, Commissioner Reeser.
Yeah, actually, I've got two questions.
Okay.
Number one, why should we vote for a tax increase for Milliken? And number two, is the authority going to take over the bond issue that, or the bond that was passed for the fire station here?
I can't answer the first question because it's a persuasive thing. If you, I don't even know if you can speak to
He's
it
saying,
as a board member.
close what he's doing.
I can understand that.
Yeah, so I can't tell you to vote for it. Like I said, we will manage the thing as it comes to us. There's a hanging chad that allows for a divorce to happen. And that divorce, I think, would be more difficult for this district than that district. But I can't tell you why to vote for it. To the second question, which then I'll jump out of the way and let you talk. To the second question, the bond that was issued to build the station in 2004, which matures in 2024, which is about $125,000 a year, will remain as the sole reality for the Milliken Fire Protection District. So there are areas that are now within the city of Greeley that still pay 0.8 of a mil every year for the construction of that building. So that bond stays with the Milliken Fire Protection District, who agreed to that bond in 2004. The other thing that stays with the respective districts are their pension plans for the volunteer members that have served in the past. So there are a couple things that stay separate. That can answer that question, and I'll jump out of the way and you talk however you're comfortable talking about that other question.
Thank you, Chief. Again, my name is Blair Howe. I don't know if I got on the record or not. The tax increase, very simply, is just to have both districts at the same mill levy. And that's the only reason why we're raising the taxes, or asking to raise the taxes for Milliken, is so that both communities pay the same amount of mill levy to their fire protection share. So one community can't look at the other and say, well, we're subsidizing you, or, you know what I'm saying? So it brings both of the mill levies together, with the exception of the bond that's going to expire in 2024. Okay, does that answer the question? That's the only reason why we're having a tax increase.
I'm sure there's,
You kind of skirted all around it.
Well, explain to me
Essentially, what I
what
asked was, why should we vote for a tax increase?
Again, we can't advocate for that. We won't advocate for that in this setting.
So Mayor and the board, they're referring to the Fair Campaign Practices Act, right? So they have a pending ballot question. And so under state law and the Constitution, they can't advocate for or against
I
using
understand that.
taxpayer dollars.
I understand that.
But they can respond to questions and not be in violation.
So we're okay
But I
so
don't want to
far?
give you legal advice either.
Okay. Go ahead.
I always err on the side of caution in this regard, especially because I'm not an attorney. So I don't mean to skirt around it, and I know that my president doesn't mean to skirt around it either. The fact of the matter is as I mentioned earlier, this is not transactional. I think that was a recipe for something breaking. So it doesn't say, Milliken, you need to pay 50% of the operations budget. In Johnstown, you need to pay 50% of the operations budget. Because if things go poorly, then what if one can't pay? It breaks up. My wife lost her job after 9/11. I didn't ask her to go, well, you know, pony up your 50% of the operations here. The operations budget, as it's crafted for 2018, has 40% coming from the Milliken Fire Protection District and 60% coming from the Johnstown Fire Protection District. So Milliken's paying about $1.4 million and Johnstown's paying 2 point something. Now, that works out nicely because the call volume kind of reflects that. About 60% of the calls are over in what was the Johnstown Fire Protection District and 40% over here in what is the Milliken Fire Protection District. But we haven't chased that transactionally because we want to be in a relationship that serves these two communities best. And I gave a presentation in the hearing in April that said our Engine 2, which is the one that sits down here on Irene, was en route to a call in what we call our District 3, which is Hillo Park, Arrowhead, Dos Rios, those areas over there. And a fire call came in the south part of Milliken. And I actually think that the gentleman whose house it was a Milliken town employee. And the engine from Johnstown came over, and the command officer and the ambulance came over, and those 7 people and those 3 apparatus were on scene within 11 minutes. So that's what I mean, transformational, as far as sometimes they're both over here, and sometimes they're both over there, and sometimes they're chasing ground cover fires in between here and Greeley. So right now, it's not a 50-50 contribution to that operations budget, but that's okay, because it kind of reflects the call volume disparity. I think that that's kind of about the closest I want to get to in terms of equity in that regard.
That's based on the property values.
So, you guys have any other questions for him?
No, you just answered mine.
No? I do appreciate you guys coming. I mean, I did appreciate sitting down and talking with you guys the other night. I learned a lot more than I originally thought. And I'm going to support you guys, I'll tell you that right now, so.
Well, thank you. We're super proud of the service that we provide, incredibly proud. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jane?
I just wanna say, we used them twice. And it seemed like they was waiting outside because I just called and they was there.
Well, that's all we got for the meeting, so.
Commissioner Kozan, coming sometime.
That's okay. I'm not worried about it. It's 6:56 and the meeting's adjourned.